Hey guys, I'm Joe and this is the Rebels Advocate. And today I want to talk about activism and becoming an activist. I kind of felt like I need to do more, but, you know, some problem. For one, I'm kind of lazy to be honest. And two, like most of you watching this, I'm pretty busy. My wife and I, we both work. We got an 8-month-old baby. We got doctor visits and, work around the house and family obligations, and I'm doing these videos. Don't have a whole lot of time to go, you know, marching in some protest, and even if I did, like I live in the middle of BFE, I got to drive like 10 hours to be somewhere. What am I going to do? Go down here to this noisy ass, you know, winding road down here and march and carry a sign? I don't think anybody's going to care about that. So, what can I do? What's the least you can do? Just something small that you can do to make a big difference. Actually, not just a small difference, but a big difference. And I think I found it, and I want to talk to you guys about it because honestly, if I can do this, anybody can. And if you're happy with the government here in America or wherever you live, then this video is probably not for you. Actually, you probably ain't going to enjoy my channel, But if you're like me and you wake up every morning scared to death to look at Twitter, just like, oh shit, what's he done today? What's our Congress done today? Who knows? Uh, you're just afraid every day what's going to happen, and a lot of it too. It ain't so much to me. I ain't worried so much. I'm not that afraid that tomorrow I'm going to wake up and not have any rights, or they're going to be, doing something, coming after me. I'm a white guy living in America, a straight white guy. Like, they're probably not going to do anything to hurt me that bad. But I do have empathy for other people, and I feel like we should stand up for those other people. And also, if they keep wanting to push church, and into state, mix religion with government, because a lot of people are like, lay off the politics. What's that got to do with atheism? Well, it's got a lot to do. We start dealing with separation of church and state, and the more you keep mixing in church and mixing in religion, before you know it, you wake up one day and you got a theocracy, and then it affects me. It affects even the white redneck living in the South. If you happen to be an atheist. And here's the thing is, if you're a Christian, if you happen to be a Christian, this should bother you as well, because the more that your church seeps in, the more religion seeps into government, I can promise you, government is going to seep right back into the church, and you're gonna wake up one day and what you push for, what you want, is going to come back to haunt you. You're going to have the government in your pocket. You're going to have the government maybe making decisions for you. Right now, if you're in America and you're a church, you got it made. You got it made. I don't know what they're crying about. You have all the freedom to do whatever you want. You're not paying taxes, and then I don't know what you're crying for. But the thing is, they keep wanting to push because what they believe is a sin, they think should be law, And these are the same people that cry about Sharia law, and yet that's kind of what they want to do. They want to push their beliefs and make it law. Why else would they be so concerned with gay marriage? What the hell does that matter to anybody? How does that affect anybody? It doesn't. So, anyway, so how do we kind of make a difference? What's a small thing we can do to make a difference? And so, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and it's just that I don't watch a whole lot of YouTube. I know I shouldn't say that as a YouTuber, but I had somebody email me once, and it's like, I'm pretty new to atheism. What's some YouTube channels you watch? I was embarrassed to say, honestly, like, I don't watch a whole lot because it seemed like everything I've seen on YouTube is just always, atheist related. I do, I watched a lot of, like, if I find debates or whatnot. But as far as just personal channels and, people, it seems like everything I find is just like anti-SJW, anti-feminist, anti-this, and just, I'm a liberal, but here's what's wrong with all the liberals, and I don't have time or patience for that shit. And so I don't watch a whole lot of it. Here lately I've been trying to, branch out and find some good channels, and I've run across a couple, pretty good ones, but a lot of them, they don't post very regular. And, but, if you guys know of some of those channels, maybe you can put them, put a link down in the comments below. I would, if you know other people, making videos and good content, I would, I'd love to start watching more of it. So, but I gave her a list of like podcasts because that's what I listen to, and I listen to a lot of good ones. I'll give you guys a few, like just a few right here, and if you watch these few or listen to these few, you'll kind of branch out and you'll hear of others. That's kind of how I did. I didn't know nothing about podcasts like a little over, 2.5 years ago or something. Didn't know nothing about podcasts. Went and searched atheists, like found one, started listening to it, liked it, and then heard about it and learned through it, and then it just kind of branched out. Now I'll probably listen to, a bunch, probably 30-something podcasts, I don't know. But some of my favorites, I'll tell you, one that you really need, especially, if you are a liberal and you hold to these values and you want somebody that really puts a lot of work into what they do, I recommend Thomas Smith, Serious Inquiries Only. That guy's great. He puts a ton of effort and just research. You can tell everything he talks about. He puts a ton of research and planning into it. Unlike what I do here, and he's got a few podcasts. He also, his very first podcast was Thomas in the Bible, where he read the entire Bible, and I'm actually listening to that again. Kind of going through the Bible. And he has another opening arguments he does with Andrew Torres, which is a lawyer, and they talk more law and things kind of related to separation of church and state and political things and different. It's very interesting. Another podcast that they just put a ton of work into. It's great. I would definitely recommend that. I have the utmost respect for Thomas, and I like the values that he stands for. His liberal values. He's not giving in to this. Kind of this new, I don't know what it is, this anti-left movement that seems to be happening by people who claim to be on the left. And he gives a very, a nuanced view to everything he talks about. So I can't recommend him enough. And then there's also No Illusions, Heath Enright, Eli Bosnick. Those guys are great. They have several podcasts. The first one I started listening to, The Scathing Atheist, is great and it's funny. And they also have God Awful Movies, where they review religious movies, Christian movies, and then they have The Skeptocrat, which is a bi-weekly podcast they do, and it's more of a political, The Skeptocrat, play on words there. And they also do a podcast called, it's not atheist related, but it's funny as hell, and it's called Citation Needed. And the three of those guys do that podcast with two other guys by the name of Tom and Cecil. And Tom and Cecil, they have their own podcast called Cognitive Dissonance. And that's also another, those guys are hilarious. If you enjoy, dick jokes and talk about atheism, those are your guys. And the other one that I was getting ready to talk about to begin with, Dogma Debate with David Smalley. So I've been listening to that one for quite a while, and this brings us back to what I was talking about originally. David often on his show Dogma Debate, great podcast also, he will bring on pretty regularly someone from the Secular Coalition for America. Let me make sure I got that right, because sometimes I get on here and I start doing these videos and I blank out. So let me pull it up one more time, make sure. I did get this right. Yes, Secular Coalition for America. And he brings someone on and they'll give updates and they'll talk about what's going on, you know, in government. And they have people there. That's what they do, and they're focused on like separation of church and state issues. Now, here's the thing about Secular Coalition for America. They have a website, and I've been listening to them for a long time, and this is kind of embarrassing or just horrible to say about myself. Because like I said, I can make all excuses I want, but when it comes down to it, sometimes I'm just lazy and I'm a procrastinator. And I say, you know, I want to do this and I want to do that and I want to make a difference, and then I don't do jack shit. And, you know, but, you know, that's on me. So, finally, you know, here a couple weeks ago, I'm listening to Dogma Debate, and he brings, I think it was Sarah Levin, I can't remember for sure, but he brings one of them on, and they're talking about this and this and this, and hey, you know, go to secular.org. That's their website. And I'll try to put that link down below. It's just secular.org. Very easy to remember. And here's the thing. Here's how you can be an activist in the most easiest way possible. And it can make a huge difference. You know, if you can't go out and do a lot of big things, this is a very small thing you can do that will take hardly none of your time. And you go to Secular Coalition for America, you go to secular.org, and they have a little thing down there that says sign up. You can sign up and you can get like emails or you can get texts sent to your phone. I signed up and got text, and it's not like they bombard you with text, you know. I think since I signed up, I've got like maybe 2 texts, and that's been several days. Or, you know, I may have got more, but you don't even get, it's not even a 1 text a day, you know, or anything like that. It's just when something comes up they need a reaction to, you know, they'll hit you up. And there's also at the very top of the page, there's a bar there that says take action. And you click on that, and guys, and it'll tell you, you know, here's what Congress is working on right now. Here's this bill that they're trying to push through, or, you know, whatever it is that would kind of affect us in a negative way, that's kind of pushing religion into government, or, you know, whatever it is. And you can look at it and you can read the bill, and if it's something you don't care about, you can say, that doesn't even bother me, skip, I don't care. But maybe you see something there and you're like, yeah, like something needs to be said about that, something needs to be done. What you can do is you can click on that, and just, it's so self-explanatory. Like, I'm a big idiot, you know. I'm not a complete idiot, but, you know, sometimes doing stuff like this, and it just walks you right through it. It's so easy, and you enter your email, and, you know, a lot of times we want to say something to these representatives where we don't know exactly how to word it, how to say it, how to express our displeasure for, you know, or try to convince them to vote a certain way. Well, the good thing is they have it typed out perfectly for you, and they'll say it, you know, and I'm sure you could change it if you want to throw in something there, but if not, they got it already typed out. All you gotta do is click to send. And here's also another great thing. Maybe you're sitting here and you're like, I don't even know who to send it to. You know, I'm not 100% sure who my representative is. Maybe you ain't even sure who your senator is. Heck, maybe you don't even know who your governor is. You know what? They do. Enter in your information, enter where you live, your zip code. They know exactly all your representatives, and it's right there. As soon as you click take action and you click on one of those, all you gotta do is click send, and they'll send it to everybody that it needs to go to. Your representatives. You know, it's so easy, guys. And it needs to be done. You know, we have things like this, the Johnson Amendment, that, you know, and things like that they're trying to do away with, and to where churches just have free reign to become these, you know, political, you know, identities out there. That's just it. They're pushing us closer and closer towards this theocracy, and trust me, there's even, you know, a lot of churches are standing up against this, like with the Johnson Amendment. And, you know, this would allow churches to endorse political candidates. There's untold money could be funneled through, and, you know, and there's nothing that can be done about it. And a lot of these churches are even kicking against it, because now, you know, you you want your church? Do you think everybody in the church is a Republican? No, that's not the case. And so you're going to call you're going to have people pushing right in the middle of your church. You're going to have people saying, "Hey, we got to push for this candidate," and another, "No, we got to push for this candidate." It's going to tear you apart. Not to mention the whole fact of what I was talking about earlier. If we ever would pass that point, and it's easy to say it can't happen, Joe. Our Constitution is, it protects us, but who the hell knows anymore, guys? Who knows? Like 50 years from now, who knows what could transpire? Who knows the road we could go down? And I want to think that religion's in its death throes. That's why so many people are, we're seeing so much ugliness. Like it's dying out, and so they're grasping at straws. I hope that's what it is, but I don't know anymore. But this is the easiest thing, guys. I'm telling you, just go to secular.org and try it out. And the more of us that we let our voices be heard. We talk to our, we let our congressman hear it. Even send it to the, Trump, if it's applicable. They'll send the email to whoever it applies to, whoever it needs to go to, and it's a very small thing, but it's something we can do to help. Hey guys, before we go, I want to give a big shout out and thank you to James Valiant, or Valiant. I probably just butchered his last name, and I apologize for that. But James, he said he didn't want to shout out, didn't care about a shout out, wasn't important to him, but he's getting one anyway because he is our very first patron. He is our one and only. So thank you, James. And if you want to contribute to the show, you can go to patreon.com/TheRebelsAdvocate, and I would definitely appreciate it. And that's it. And also subscribe. Thank you. Bye.